Episode 6 of Our Flag Means Death Season 2 begins with a lighthouse. A man named Ned Lowe talks about how his younger brother was a good musician, while Ned was never good enough. He tortures another man while ranting about Blackbird breaking his record, 88 consecutive raids at sea. On the Revenge, Ed looks out at the sea. When Izzy comes by, Ed says a storm is coming but he can't see it. He apologizes to Izzy for his leg, before leaving. Steed shows Ed that he's put all the treasure from his raids in one room. When Ed calls it a room full of his guilt, Steed suggests he can do something good with all the valuables. Meanwhile, Archie regales the crew with stories from a party she had been to. They realize things have gotten boring recently and decide to throw a party in honor of Calypso's birthday, a totally made-up thing. They inform Steed and Ed about the plan, and Steed suggests Ed can use his treasure to fund the party. Elsewhere, the previously aspiring gentleman pirate Richard Baines has now accepted his role as prince and is working to get rid of piracy. Afterwards, one of his men shows a package that has been delivered, a white and blue ceramic nose, since he got his cut off by Spanish Jackie. The Revenge's crew disembarks and looks for party supplies. In a show of good faith, Ed gives his doubloons and knives to two little kids. Richard meets with Zangie Saw, who sent him the nose. It's blackmail really, but she has a proposition for him. The party commences on the Revenge with music and drinks, and Wee John dressed up as Calypso. Izzy arrives in drag as well and begins to sing a rendition of La Vie en Rose. But the revelry is interrupted by sudden gunshots. Ned Lowe and his fearsome crew board the Revenge. Steed and Ed are tied up in ropes as Ned goes on about his broken record. Ed surmises that Ned killed his brother, and that seems to strike a nerve. He uses a hot iron poker to hurt Ed and then Steed. On the deck, Ned's crew set about torturing Steed's crew as well. Lucius and Black Pete exit a room below deck after having been in there for a whole day, celebrating their engagement. The screaming alerts them to the fact that something is wrong. As they set about collecting weapons, Ned wants to make a symphony out of all the crew's screams. A woman from Ned's crew gets into an argument with Ned, who constantly chastises her. Steed manages to get loose of his ropes and hold her at knife point. But Ned doesn't care if she dies. The woman claims Ned doesn't offer enough positive reinforcement, and the rest of his crew begins to agree. Lucius and Pete burst onto the deck brandishing their knives, but then realize Steed's got it in control. Ned's crew properly turn on their captain. Zangie Saw shows Richard Baines her fleet of ships, which is as good as a pirate navy. She says if he agrees to pay her people a living wage, then they'll stop looting. She tells him he could get rid of piracy without a single gunshot. Ned's crew leaves on their ship with new agreements on a positive workplace and profit sharing. The topic turns to the fate of Ned, but it's not debated for long. Once Ned insults Ed, Steed takes a stand and makes him go on the plank. Ed tells him not to do it, but for the sake of his crew and for Ed, Steed throws Ned's violin at him, which promptly pushes him into the sea. Steed is distraught for a second, and we see flashes from his past. He then goes to his quarters. Ed joins him a minute later and asks if he's alright. Steed pulls Ed in and pushes him against the wall, where they proceed to kiss each other passionately. As Izzy completes singing on deck, Steed closes the curtains around him and Ed. In a post-credit scene of Our Flag Means Death Season 2 Episode 6, Fawn comes out of his hiding spot holding a goat that he wanted to protect. The crew resumes the party. The episode review Our Flag Means Death Season 2 Episode 6 starts off with the usual light jest and shenanigans, but ends with some pretty momentous scenes. The discussion of Calypso's birthday and the ensuing celebration is in typical OFMD style, wholesome and joyful. The characters are adorned in flowers, some are in drag, and the overall mood of the scene signifies queer joy. The humor of this show is absolutely on point and balances the more dramatic scenes really well. Lucius and Pete turning up halfway through the episode because they were cooped up with each other is hilarious. And the dialogue, as usual, is crisp, witty, and leads to some of the biggest laughs. Steed's decision to kill Ned feels like a turning point for him. Coupled with his unexplained competence during stressful scenarios, this could lead him down the path of more violence. Could he and Ed potentially reverse their roles? With Ed leaning towards peace and harmony, it will be interesting to see how the two characters deal with that.